This is the Roxanne Show. Get ready. It's time to rise. Welcome back to the show. I am excited to dive into this very in the moment, spontaneous episode. So I initially had a different idea for today's episode that I'm also excited to actually record because it's so epic. However, I got intercepted. I woke up this morning and I could feel a little rundown, right? Not sick, but just rundown. So, physically a little less potent, if you will. So that was one thing, right? And I was like, oh, all right, we'll figure this out. And then there was just like back-to-back challenges, technical issues, phones not working, videos not uploading. I mean, this is all, my business as a digital creator. And, when you have all these challenges that start adding up, piling up, you get tested, right? Like your nervous system is taking on a heavier load. Gratefully, my morning ritual really, really makes a big difference for me. I had a very powerful meditation with my muse, my future self this morning, 20 minutes with her in front of my red light, doing breath work. And this is, even before like the challenges started to really pile up. But man, I mean, the resilience levels that are built as a result of me just dropping in and connecting with myself and doing these, tools like breath work and meditation are just, it's so helpful. So as the day would, the morning would move on, other challenges started to show up, even, other business related challenges. And so, it's so important for me to keep it real always. I mean, it's really my only MO, which doesn't mean that I'm an oversharer of all things that happen at all times in my life. Like, fuck no. But I wanted to, the reason why this episode is now intercepting the original idea I had for today's is because witnessing how I am moving through all of the challenges is really special for me. It's really powerful. And it's so much of what I share as a constant, right? Giving you tools, giving you ideas, tactics, just invitations on how you can forge a more resilient mindset, embrace challenges, opportunity, all of that stuff. If you're new, well, I talk about that stuff a lot. And for a lot of reasons, a lot of great reasons, today being a perfect example. I could have totally just said, you know what, I'm going to scratch today's episode and just reschedule, There would have been nothing wrong with that. I so always honor where I'm at physically, like if I don't feel good or something like that, which is not common, gratefully. But my point is that I honor, what I'm feeling, especially when it comes to my vitality, right? And I'm not here because of my ego, like, oh, just push. No, I'm here because number one, I want to be. I love supporting you, through this channel. I love showing up for you. I love showing up for me in this medium. I got a message today, a comment on a newer episode that was so heart moving. She wrote, "This was so great, future self." And she said, "You're literally saving my life." And, these messages are, I don't take them lightly. You know what I mean? I get really incredible messages, whether it's in the comments, a lot of times in the DMs on Instagram, who you all are. And none of it doesn't just like roll past me. You know what I mean? I take it all to heart. It means so much because, I don't have followers. I don't see followers. I don't even see audience. You're all heartbeats, and there's so much value in you showing up to spend your energy and time with me. And I don't take that lightly because Energy is always the priority for me. I talk about this often. I'm going to record another episode around chasing more energy, not time. But yeah, energy and time really are the most important commodities that any one of us have. So for you to show up here and invest yours into me, it means a lot. So me showing up here instead of just calling up the day, it's because I deeply value that too, right? And also I love just having these random episodes that, it's happened before where I'm like, no, you know what? I'm not rehearsed. Not that I'm typically rehearsed, but, a lot of times I have bullet points and ideas of things that I want to run through to give you, some great ideas, tactics, strategies around the subject of the episode. But today I'm just freestyling. I'm just freestyling because I feel for it. I feel inspired to do this. I know that, my higher self is speaking through me to you. And, one of the things I was thinking about on the drive here to the studio, I was thinking about how this might seem so like contradictory, but one of the greatest tools that I have when it comes time to face challenges, and especially when I'm feeling challenged from an internal perspective, not just like life coming at me like, oh, it's a business challenge, it's a government challenge, it's you know what I mean? Like, but when it's like kind of inner outer happening, I soften. I don't become a victim. I soften. And I don't know, some of you may have heard me say this before, but the greatest analogy to illustrate the power of softening and not getting hard and rigid is, well, number one of my quotes, you can't snap a string, right? Can't snap a string. And I know I said this in another episode before, but have you ever punched a pillow? It's kind of hard to fuck a pillow up, right? Because the pillow will just absorb it, right? And, for me, in this moment of just kind of softening, well, what is that really? It's, first of all, it's a form of surrendering too, right? So in the surrender, it's not submission. It's important to differentiate surrender and submission, right? When we surrender in these moments of challenge where there's resistance, we're essentially allowing ourselves to calm the resistance, right? Because if we push hard against the resistance, we're making it harder on ourselves. We're just inviting more resistance, and we don't want to do that, right? So softening allows, every facet of my being, my mental state, my nervous system, all of me to just kind of, become less resistant and also more calm, more composed. One of the greatest qualities that I love, admire, and respect about my future self, that I have such a clear vision on. I know I've said this a lot, but to, anyone new watching this, she is so composed always, and especially in the face of challenge. And you cannot be composed if you're rigid and hard up and frustrated. You can't. It just doesn't work, right? So you have to soften. And that's why I think it's so important to differentiate soften and, surrender and submission, because by no means am I taking away my armor, my strength, my resilience, my perseverance, my grit. If anything, I'm just upregulating all of them so that they're working more optimally, right? And this is a fucking power move. And it's not easy because I said contradiction earlier. It's more like it's counterintuitive, right? It seems so counterintuitive to soften when you have to like kind of step forward towards a battle. But if you realize that in that softening, again, we're not becoming a victim. We're not, falling to the sidelines and rolling over and quitting or, having a fit. We're not doing any of that. We're just accepting. We're accepting. We're just kind of meeting the moment where it's at. Like we're meeting ourselves where we're at in the moment. And that right there is such a fucking power move. And it takes a lot of self-awareness and self-connectivity, which are two attributes that I talk about so often, and self-love, to be able to hit that switch. I'll tell you, like, for example, when I was trying to troubleshoot this really frustrating issue with my phone where if I leave my house, there's no Wi-Fi, I can't use my phone, basically, and the calls keep dropping, people can't reach me. I mean, we rely on our phones, unfortunately, so much that to not have it fully functioning is really fucking difficult, to deal with. And, I'm on the phone with tech support and, they're in some other country, and it's that whole thing where you're like, just please connect me to someone who can really help me. And, and it just, you're like feeling yourself just start to kind of get, just to reaching frustration, right? And I'm so aware of myself, conscious of myself at all times because of all the years of deliberate practice around self-awareness. And I say practice because meditation and journaling are practices. In my world, I prefer the word rituals, but practice all the same, right? And those two practices have, when you're being deliberate and consistent, you are absolutely going to advance these, this attribute and several other things, but just focusing on self-awareness for a moment, and self-connectivity. I'm aware of how I'm feeling, right? So when I start to see myself, self-awareness becomes super frustrated. And this is stepping out of my normal disposition, right? Kind of getting bitchy, and I don't like that. Like, I get it, I'm human, but I'm just saying, like, it's not where I want to be, And then the self-connectivity piece, I could literally feel myself becoming uncomfortable in myself, right? So this is where my harmony alarm, for those of you who are not familiar, I have this, a harmony alarm that I've instilled in myself so that because harmony is really my baseline, truly. And I've developed that, right? So when I start to feel my harmony alarm go off, right? That immediately turns my self-awareness on fucking full blast. Cause I'm like, hey, what's happening here? What's going on? Like, why are you off baseline? And so I'm on that call, and I'm watching the frustration and I'm feeling it. And it's so cool what happens at that point after several minutes of being human and having that moment. It's this invitation that I offer myself. And it's an invitation that I believe any one of us can offer ourselves when we are facing challenges. And of course, the more that you put the reps in to fortify your self-awareness and your self-connectivity and self-love, as I just mentioned, you're going to have an easier time not only accessing the invitation, but accepting it. And the invitation for me is, hey, is this how you want to move today? Is this how you want to feel? Do you want to let this challenge take you off your baseline, which is your most resilient, magnetic, capable, composed self? No, I don't. So then I get invited to, cool, so what do you want to do right now? I want to soften. I want to reset. I want to remind myself that every moment in life is temporary. The high, the hard, having a great time, cool, it's temporary. Having a hard time, I got you, it's temporary, right? That's one of my favorite fucking go-to messages to myself. It's temporary because it's a truth, So I accept that invitation. I soften, connect with my team, have a really great call. And, I'm just so grateful for my team. We have this ability to just really run towards each other, when there's challenge instead of running away from each other, right? And that just forges a stronger energy and helps to kind of dismantle some of the frictiony energy, not towards each other, but just, I mean, like in our individual, whatever it is that we're going through. Right. And so yeah, so that's, that's been my morning. And I just, look, every fucking one of us is facing at least one challenge every single day of our lives. To me, this is why it's so important. The stuff that I share, the whole premise of my work, what I love to talk about, what my soul is here to share with you is not omitting challenge. It's not saying, hey, do this and you'll never face challenge again. Fuck no. We wouldn't even be here if we didn't take to the challenges that we needed to take to, and face through our evolution. Challenge is essential to evolve us, right? We just want to make sure that we're not, bringing on challenges within ourselves or within our lives that are unnecessary and that don't serve us. Because obviously there's a lot of that happens as well. But I'm specifically talking about right now challenges that just come up by the very nature of being a fucking human and living, and we all face them. And I feel more compelled to share with you tools, real fucking tools, internal tools that will help you move through those challenges with resilience, with fortitude, with trust, with compassion, with grace, with everything that you need to beat your challenge, right? I'd rather give you those tools than try and sell you on, here's the way to have no challenges. Nah, fuck that. I've said it so many times because it's so real for me. Challenges in my mind are all opportunities. I mean, even the phone call example, when that's an opportunity for me to decide who I want to be in that moment. That's an opportunity for me to decide, do I want to step deeper into my future self's composure? Because I know she doesn't roll that way. Again, there's nothing wrong with having a moment of frustration. Please. We're all going to have moments of all the emotions that come with being a human. It's just deciding how you want, what's the relationship with that emotion? Do you want that relation, or do you want that emotion to, become who you are? Or let me say this again. It all comes down to the relationship that you have with that current emotion. How do you want to move with that emotion? Do you want to become that emotion? Do you want that emotion to, and I'm talking specifically about like lower frequency emotions, right? Do you want that emotion or those emotions to dictate the rest of your day, the rest of your week, the rest of your life? What I'm saying is that we always have a choice. And even if it's hard to accept that, because sometimes some challenges are so fucking overwhelming and the emotions that come as a result of it seem so difficult to, be more objective with. At the end of the fucking day, it is the truth that we can choose. And it's okay if it's not the initial, like I said, I had several minutes where I was being bitchy and frustrated, and that's okay. I love and respect myself still in that moment. But what's so cool and what's so powerful is that I just, it was a few minutes before I realized, hey, no. And especially too, this is another thing for me. Look, these kind of, we'll say smaller challenge, even though it's super frustrating. Again, try not to use your phone, especially when, you're an entrepreneur and your phone is your business, but I still see that as like, these are smaller challenges, right? I'm not turned on, like, first of all, by being rocked by any challenge, like to the point where you just become a mess, period, end of story. But especially these kind of call them smaller challenges that, it's like, because if something like that can rock me, then I'm fucked when something big happens, period. And that's never going to be me, and I've already been through so much challenge in my life. And I don't mean just negative challenges. I mean, it could be a challenge through work that's positive, right? That's going to help me advance. I'm learning a new skill. It could be a challenge training, that's, where my body's adapting to take it to the another level, like whatever it is. But I faced all those challenges. I've faced, real hardcore emotional challenges, just through childhood issues. I mean, there's been challenge has been a main character in my life. And because of that, I have learned to change my relationship with challenge, because in the changing of that relationship and embracing them and honoring them, knowing that I'm worthy to face every fucking challenge that comes through to me in my life, it has only given me incredible fucking results, incredible experiences. And here's the best part, all of which I get to keep. Not temporary moments of greatness, not a temporary fix, a temporary high. No, it's trained my brain different. It's given me new skills. It's advanced attributes, self-confidence, as an example. That doesn't, you don't get that shit handed to you. There are no handouts to self-confidence or self-trust. You got to earn it, right? And in my life, embracing all of the challenges that I've met in my life thus far has helped me to do that. So what I'm selling to you right now is the idea that challenges, number one, are always an opportunity for growth. You just have to see it that way. There's always an invitation for you to make a choice when you are in a moment of challenge or facing challenges to decide how you want to show up and, move through that challenge, right? This is, again, why I can't say enough how having a very clear vision and connection with my future self, also known as my highest self, also known as my muse, is so vital, because I see her. So I see how she does things. I see her behaviors. I see her attributes. I see her qualities, her character, I'll share this with you because I think this is like a little poetic, but it's so powerful. So I know a lot of you, I know a lot of you will take to this really well. But if you think of a flame, the flame on the outside, the orange, right? The orange part of the flame is pretty fucking hot, right? You're not trying to touch that. But it's also very wild, right? This is the fire that's just like, crazy out there, right? The flame. The center of the flame, though, is blue. And it's so calm and still. So it's kind of like the eye of the storm. And it's also the hottest part of the flame. So it's like the most dangerous part of the fire, the flame. And when I face a challenge, how I see my future self move through a challenge, she's the blue of the flame. Right? That's like a nickname. You're the blue of the flame. You're the eye of the storm. So for me, because this means something to me, right? This identity, these qualities, I really identify with them. When I'm in a situation where I'm facing any kind of challenge that is giving me a hard time, setting off the harmony alarm, I just think about being the blue of the flame and the eye of the storm. It's so sexy. I don't think there's anything sexy about someone who has no skills to handle a challenge. And I'm not talking about, a traumatic moment, fucking shit just happens out of nowhere and everyone's caught off guard. Okay. Not saying that because, that's a whole nother level. But still, at any moment, unfortunately, hate to say it, but it's true, we could all be facing that kind of situation. Better to be prepared for it mentally, definitely physically too, and even spiritually, so that if and when that moment comes, you will have better skills to move through it. Because at the end of the day, anyone, being frantic, falling apart, certainly becoming a victim is like a fast track to more injury and submission from the challenge, right? It's the fast track there. If you want to actually get through the challenge, if you want to beat the challenge, you need equanimity. You need composure. You need a calm mind and body to get through it. I mean, you kind of, it's like a little bit of the fucking Navy SEAL gene, or a lot of it, depending on the situation, but it's real. It makes a massive difference. So anyways, that's what I wanted to share with you. Maybe this transmission, today's episode, is meeting you right where you are. Maybe it's exactly what you needed to hear to just fuse the power within you to, accept that invitation. Like, first hear the invitation. How do you want to move through it? Who do you want to be in this moment? I'll say that. That was actually, when 2020 happened and in that first month where nobody knew anything and it was all like, what the fuck is going on? I remember so clearly thinking to myself, and in my world, like, nothing stopped work-wise. Like, I actually just took the podcast to another level. It was like, cool, we're all going to be video now. It was cool anyways. But I remember thinking to myself, like, and I know I probably put this into solosodes back then, but I remember thinking to myself, you're always going to look back. You're always going to remember how you move through a challenge. For me, that matters. Like, I want to do my very best in every moment of my life, period. But certainly when I'm facing a challenge, I want to know that I really did give it my best to meet that challenge with composure, with, a level head, and with, everything that I have within me in that moment to beat the challenge, and to kind of just wrap this up and really pull on something that I think was the most powerful in this episode is that counterintuitive move to fucking soften and realize that it's a power move because you are not inviting more resistance into your frequency so that you can get into a more calm state, a more resilient state, a stronger state to actually kick the fucking challenge's ass. And you can. That's what I got for you. So I hope this one hit your heart right where you needed it today. Please do let me know. Subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Comment in the YouTube section if you haven't already given this really special show of mine, The Roxanne Show, a 5-star rating review. Please do so. There's so many of you have been doing it lately, and it's just been so rad. I've been putting it out there that if you do, there's a link in the show notes, by the way. My brain today. There's a link in the show notes. Makes it really easy. So YouTube, anywhere you're taking this in, you can just go to the show notes. There's a link there. Hit the 5-star rating. Write a little review. Screen grab it. DM me at Roxy Look. And if you have some Instagram that's like some weird profile, just make sure you send the picture. Because if I don't know you and you look kind of suspect, then I might not be answering straight up. There's a lot of that out there. So anyways, but yeah, and when you do that, my team will send you this beautiful guided digital Opulent Woman journal. It's so, so beautiful. And yeah, thank you so much, all of you who actually take the time to do it and who have done it. It's been so special to get the reviews. My team is stoked. Everyone who is now learning about the show is thanking you too. In spirit, I know, because you're actually really helping the show to grow. So I will be back with the other episode that I had intended for today, and I'm really excited to create that one for you. But I really do hope that today just hit your soul in a powerful way, reminding you that you're so fucking capable, and you just got to remember that and decide how you want to show up to meet any challenge in your life. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for listening, you guys. Please like, subscribe, and share, and don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review.